Hello and welcome to the Today's Money Masters. I'm your host, Jean-Paul Manu. The Today's Money Masters competition comprises 3 professional investors and a novice, each provided with $500,000 to invest. The participants will invest in stocks, bonds, and collective investment schemes. They will share their strategies over a 1-year period. At the end of the period, the top portfolio manager will be declared. So let's continue with the masters on this very exciting journey. Now, a word from our sponsors.
Have you ever been interested in an IPO but didn't have the time to go in branch and submit all the documents? We've got a solution for that. With NCB Capital Markets Go IPO portal, you can submit and track your IPO application from any of your favorite devices. No need to go in branch. No need to contact a wealth advisor. No extra fees. And it's accessible to both NCB and non-NCB clients for all our offers. So no excuses. Investing is easier with Go IPO. Visit www.goipo.jncb.com or text Go IPO to 876-383-1729 and start investing today.
Welcome back. On today's program, we are joined by Chrevaughn Legister, our professional from Proven Wealth Limited. Hello, Chrevaughn. How are you doing?
Hi, John Paul. Thanks for having me. I'm good.
Good. Glad to have you. NCB's price, Chrevaughn, has recently dropped to $208 per share. Are you concerned?
Okay. So I'm figuring you're asking me that question because NCB represents about 17% of my portfolio. Truth be told, I'm not overly concerned with short-term fluctuation in stock prices. As I said before, it's not a linear trend for stock prices.
Right.
In terms of NCB, I still think that NCB is a strong company. It's obvious they're the #1 bank in Jamaica.
Sure.
What I will admit is that within the near term, the company, the stock as well, has been affected by what I perceive to be investor sentiments, may have been triggered by the NCB's upgrading of its network, which really didn't go well, or still hasn't been going well.
Right,
for
has
a
been
lot
affecting
of customers.
right.
Yeah. And then on the investment side now, recently you would have noticed that there were some structural changes in terms of the management. Patrick Hilton and Dennis Cohen, they're now responsible for group strategy and no longer for the local bank, NCBJ. So I think the market may have interpreted that change negatively.
Okay.
I see it as a positive for the stock. It allows both heads of the company to now more focus on strategy, realizing the synergies that they're supposed to benefit from. As you may know, NCB recently acquired a majority stake in Guardian Holdings Limited. Okay. We haven't seen that reflect in the numbers in NCB.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that $208 now for NCB stock, I'm not fazed. I really anticipate the company having a strong end of year earnings, and I expect the stock price to move up in an upward direction.
Okay. Generally speaking, as you say, these things are up and down, so this isn't worrying you at all. The Guardian thing should kick in pretty soon.
Should kick in, and don't forget, they're actually working on the sale of AGIC, Advantage General Insurance Company, to Sagicor. So even though that will provide like a one-off gain, the company, NCB will get some cash, and who knows, they may deploy that cash to investors, giving a sweetener in terms of dividends. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right, good. So no problems there so far. All right, with Wisynco's earnings per share being at 74 cents, you think the stock is overpriced? And if so, what do you think would be a fair value? Would you share that with us?
Okay, so I'll say that I'm hesitant in sharing what I think the fair value of Wisynco is.
Okay.
But what I will say is that I believe that there's more upside for Wisynco. I don't think it's overvalued. The reason being, I'm looking at Wisynco from where earnings per share can go and not necessarily where it is now. You may wonder why. Wisynco did recently 2 what I think to be forward transactions, right? They did the Worthy Park investment, wherein they'll be distributing rum and sugar for Worthy Park, and they also acquired a 30% stake in JP Stocks. So that
Jamaica producers.
Jamaica producers. So those will contribute to Wisynco's bottom line. So I see Wisynco's earnings being driven by these recent investments, so to speak. So just to answer your question, I don't think it's overvalued. And Wisynco is a resilient company. They're also looking to increase their share of exports that contributes to revenue. So that's additional revenue, it should trickle down to the bottom line as well.
Okay.
As you may know, the company has a small segment within their operations that did the sweet products. These are the styrofoam products, if you're familiar with those. So most recently, Wisynco disclosed that what they'll be doing is making biodegradable foam.
Okay,
Yeah.
right, okay.
So that part of the business shows resilience, and this is coming after the plastic ban.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
and the banning of soon to come banning of the foam products. So I think there's further upside, and earnings could go a bit higher, and also drive the stock price of Wisynco.
Great.
It's one to hold on in my view.
Sure. Okay, well, they're becoming a little more eco-friendly, and that can always only be a good thing.
Definitely, you need more companies like those that can
Definitely.
consider the social effects as well of operating in an economy.
All right, good. More with Chrevaughn Legister after this break.
Have you ever been interested in an IPO but didn't have the time to go in branch and submit all the documents? We've got a solution for that. With NCB Capital Markets Go IPO portal, you can submit and track your IPO application from any of your favorite devices. No need to go in branch. No need to contact a wealth advisor. No extra fees. And it's accessible to both NCB and non-NCB clients for all our offers. So no excuses. Investing is easier with Go IPO. Visit www.goipo.jncb.com or text Go IPO to 876-383-1729 and start investing today.
The Money Masters Funds. It's all about real growth, safety and security of your assets. The Growth Fund gives higher returns for the investor more focused on growth. Money Masters Funds, providing growth and security, performance and financial peace of mind.
We are CUFMC, Credit Union Fund Management Company. Trust matters, and you can believe in our reliability.
Service.
We give impeccable attention to your needs.
Experience.
Careful and prudent are part of our DNA.
Know-how.
After 70 years working exclusively for credit unions, now we're open to all investors. CUFMC, Credit Union Fund Management Company.
How we choose to invest our time today often has a propelling effect for what we gain tomorrow. It's like investing in shares.
Mommy, is this a share?
Yes, you know, she's right. It's similar to how shares work. Companies are publicly listed on the Jamaica stock market. These companies are divided into pieces, and these pieces are what are called shares. The owners of these shares are called shareholders.
Welcome back to the Masters competition. We're talking with Chrevaughn Legister from Proven Wealth Limited. Chrevaughn, I'm sure you've heard about the possibility of a global recession. Are you concerned that that will affect the Jamaican markets?
That's a very good question. So what I'll say is that we at Proven Wealth Limited, we're keeping our fingers on the pulse of that one. So a recession is definitely not a good word. No one likes to hear that word. Why I am concerned about it, to answer your question directly. So the thing is that recession affects economies on various fronts, right? So what you will have is lower production. You will also have laying off of workers. And overall, recession affects trade, international trade. And which, when you think about Jamaica, that is how and economies, that's how economies survive.
In general.
Because no economy is what we would say insulated, right? So Jamaica is big on trade. Our trading partners are the US and Canada and Europe. So the recession fears, it's really being focused in Germany, which is the backbone of the Eurozone, and also the US. We heavily depend on the US. Yes. What sectors, you may ask, or are you maybe familiar with? Tourism, remittance, as well as now recently the BPO sector. Most of these companies within the BPO sector, they come from the US.
Right.
So I see the recession as not something that I'm necessarily, it's not imminent, but there are signs of it taking place or evolving. So we have to be careful. So for example, tourism could be affected because if you have less employed persons in the US, it means that persons have less disposable income, fewer disposable income, and that disposable income is what the tourists use to come to Jamaica to enjoy the sun, sand, and sea, and whatever else we have to offer. Right? The BPO sector, it's growing. It employs approximately 36,000 persons right now, and there's heavy investment in it. So I'd be cautious about what a recession could do to our developing sector. And then there's remittance. Remittance accounts for about 16% of GDP. That's a big number. You know, in my opinion, I'm sure you would agree. Yeah. So what you may have is less money flowing into Jamaica, right? And overall, businesses, companies tend to cut back on their investments. Just to give you some history, and persons may not realize, I mean, no one was paying much attention to our local stock market in 2008, 2009. When we had the Great Recession in 2008, our stock market actually fell by 20%. So that's just a reference point. Right? Now you have a stock market that is more vibrant, so who knows what could happen if we should go into a recession. In another couple of years. So as I said, that's something that we are concerned with, and we are monitoring and just we advise our clients accordingly as to what investment strategies they could take
to avoid any major fallout.
To avoid any major fallout in the value of their assets or their portfolio. Yeah.
And as an island, generally, we can't really be less productive, can we? We need to. That would be a big problem.
Well, that would be a big problem. And as I remind persons that Jamaica is what you'd call a small, open economy. So definitely we are vulnerable to any shocks. The popular saying is that when America sneezes, we catch a cold.
Yeah. Indeed. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that one.
Sure. Yes.
Cool. That has been Chrevaughn Legister giving us his financial thoughts this week. Thanks a lot, Chrevaughn. Join us next week, same time, for another exciting episode of the Masters Competition as we meet with another participant. Follow the pros and the one novice each week on the Masters Competition. Listen and analyze the strategies with the Masters on RJR 94 FM Thursdays at 8:45 a.m. as they challenge each other to stay ahead. And also look out for the portfolios in our Sunday Gleaner. The Masters Competition is a product of Today's Money Limited, brought to you in partnership with NCB Capital Markets Limited, Money Masters Limited, Credit Union Fund Management Company Limited, and the Jamaica Stock Exchange. I'm Jean-Paul Manu. The Masters is another fine product from Today's Money Limited.